Ooh, what's good, Wizards fans? The Washington Wizards win 118-104 over the Charlotte Hornets. Kristaps Porzingis dominates with 36 points and a career high 8 threes. The Washington Wizards are also reportedly interested in a couple of guys at the trade deadline. Let's get to it.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
So I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/Locked On today to get started. So Washington Wizards win against the Charlotte Hornets 118-104. The Wizards are also reportedly interested in trading for a couple of guys. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but we're focused on the game to start off. Kristaps Porzingis, man, he just dominated. 36 points, 8 threes tonight, a career high in threes. I thought he did a great job defensively. Weston Jr. was mic'd up tonight. He decided to go zone in the second half. I thought it worked. Kristaps Porzingis did a great job protecting the rim. Made it really hard and made it tough for the Hornets to score in the paint. They really struggled, and he beat the Hornets by himself. 18 points by Kristaps Porzingis in that third quarter, and the Wizards only gave up 15. So Kristaps won 18-15 in the third quarter by himself. The Wizards are on a 12-game winning streak as well when they hold opponents under 111 points. So just a solid all-around game for the whole team. Deni Avdija with a double-double. It was tied at halftime. It was, the Hornets, they like to push the pace, so they were running up and down. Terry Rozier getting baskets. It was tough to keep the big man from Duke. I'm trying to remember his name. Mark Davis, I want to say his name, for the Hornets. It was tough to keep him. Mark Williams, he had 9 points, 8 boards. I thought the Wizards struggled keeping him off the boards in the first half, a little bit in the second half, but they kind of cut his water off or shut his water off. So I thought they did a decent job defensively on Terry Rozier. Now the first half it was a struggle. Terry Rozier got hot a little bit in the first half. LaMelo Ball started off with a couple of threes, some lobs to threw a lob to Dennis Smith Jr., threw a lob to Mark Williams as well, and they were getting some easy baskets in the first half. The Wizards weren't getting back on defense, but the Wizards made adjustments in the second half for sure, especially in that third quarter. I thought the zone defense did help out. They were able to close out on shooters and protect the paint for sure. They were really getting back on defense, and that was a big reason why they won this game. Now, just looking at the numbers, Bradley Beal with Monte Morris being out tonight with the back end for back tightness. We'll see if that has anything to do with the trade deadline because we've seen guys be ruled out, as you saw tonight. D'Angelo Russell was announced to be ruled out. And guess what? He just got traded for Russell Westbrook and Mike Conley in the 3-team trade. And then the night before, Spencer Dinwiddie was ruled out with a injury status. And guess what? He gets traded basically the same day or same night. So we'll see what happens with Monte Morris in the foreseeable future within the next 24 hours. But with Monte Morris being out, Kyle Kuzma being out, guys had to step up. And Bradley Beal had to take on more of a ball handling role. And I thought he did a good job of that, finding open shooters, finding guys open, getting to the basket. 17 points and 10 assists for Bradley Beal tonight. Deni Avdija did a heck of a job rebounding, and he's finishing really, really well around the rim. I'm very impressed. I'm happy to see him develop since Rui has been traded. I'm not attributing him playing better just because Rui got traded, but Deni Avdija is looking more assertive. He's more aggressive. He's finishing well around the rim. Had an and one tonight. The Cleveland game was a roller coaster game for him. But this game, he definitely bounced back and stepped up with 20 points and 13 boards. Hit 3 threes tonight, and that's something that I want to see Deni improve on. He's shooting a lot better from the outside as well as of late. Bradley Beal with a double-double. As I said, DeLon Wright stepping up with more ball-handling duties tonight with 10 assists, 6 boards, 2 points. Deni Avdija, like I said, double-double. Daniel Gafford, he got injured, and then he came back into the game. 13 points, 5 boards. He hit a free throw jumper to start off the game. I was impressed with him tonight as well. 13 points. Had a putback dunk where he was just being mean and being aggressive, going up against Mason Plumlee and Mark Williams. I thought our bigs dominated tonight. Kristaps and Daniel Gafford, I thought they dominated tonight in the paint. Anthony Gill contributed a little bit tonight too. Had a nice take down the lane, 7 points, a nice athletic take to the rim, 7 points and 3 rebounds. Will Barton with 6 points, 2 for 2 from the 3-point line. We'll see if he's on the roster within the next 24 hours as well. Corey Kispert, 4 points. Kendrick Nunn with 6 points. I thought he was getting to the basket in the first half. Jordan Goodwin, who got Bradley Beal's 10 assists, finished a layup down the stretch. Just looking at the team stats as well, the Wizards were 15 for 37 from the three-point line, 40% from the three-point line, 15 for 17 from the free throw line, almost a 50-40-90 game, 50% from the field, almost a 50-40-90 game for the Washington Wizards tonight. They out-rebounded the Hornets 52-40 as well. 41 defensive rebounds, 29 assists. When the ball moves, that's when the Wizards are better. That's when they're at their peak, and that's when they can really reach their full potential, when they're really moving the ball on the offensive side of the floor for sure. 12 blocks tonight as well. I want to see how many blocks that Gafford I had tonight and Kristaps Porzingis. But Kristaps Porzingis, he did a really good job protecting the rim tonight for sure. He had 2 blocks. Gaff had 3 blocks, and guess who? Bradley Beal had 3 blocks tonight as well. So just a good all-around effort tonight from the Wizards. Their largest lead was 23, and guess what? They did not give up a 20-point lead tonight. So that was great to see, after seeing them have back-to-back games where they gave up 20-point leads. 12 blocks tonight was impressive. And they only, 44 points in the paint. So just a good all-around game for the Wizards tonight. And they are back in the play-in now. They are the 10th seed right now, looking at the standings. They're the 10th seed right now. They're 25-29. The Bulls are 26-28. They're 1 game behind the Bulls for that 9th spot and 1.5 games behind the Atlanta Hawks for the 8th spot. So the Wizards are scratching and clawing back in that play-in game. So I do want to get to some of the reports today that we've seen around on social media and in the news today. Some guys that the Wizards are interested in trading for per reports. But before we do get to that, this episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. This year, the only app you need at your Super Bowl party is FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. We're really excited about our new sports betting partner for Locked On because they're the #1 sportsbook in America, FanDuel. And if you're new to FanDuel, that's even better. They have so many great features that make betting on sports fun and easy. Download FanDuel now so you can bet Super Bowl 57 with a no-sweat first bet. You'll get up to $3,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet does not win. FanDuel lets you bet on everything from the money lines to point spreads to who will score a touchdown. The bet I put on tonight, I actually lost tonight. I was on a pretty good streak. I had an alternative spread for the Hornets plus 11.5. The Wizards smashed that, and they beat the Hornets by 14. And then I had Terry Rozier getting 20 points. I had him getting 20-plus points, and he ended up with 19 points. Shout out to Jordan Goodwin for playing good defense on Terry Rozier. Now, he made me lose some money, but I'm happy that the Wizards that they won by that much and that they did a good job on Terry Rozier in the second half. I did have the Raptors beating who did the Raptors play tonight? I'm looking at my FanDuel app right now, but I don't even see them on there. They had a layup kind of win. Oh, they beat the Spurs 112-98. So I lost my parlay tonight, but it's all good. And, as long as the Wizards do well, that's all that matters to me. The FanDuel Sportsbook app is safe, secure, and super easy to use. Best of all, you can get paid your winnings instantly. So join FanDuel today at FanDuel.com/lockedon to claim your no-sweat first bet on Super Bowl 57. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. The NBA trade deadline is approaching, and Locked On has you covered. Thursday, February 9th. Tune into Locked On NBA on YouTube at 2 p.m. Eastern time to hear reaction from the trades that will charge the rest of the NBA season. Who becomes contenders and who is tanking for a better future? Subscribe to Locked On NBA on YouTube and don't miss a deal. All right, so let's get to the first person that I saw today. Jae'Sean Tate. The Wizards reportedly have interest in trading for him, and that was per The Athletic. Kelly Iko, who is the host of the Iko System podcast. He is a writer for The Athletic. He says that Jae'Sean Tate has drawn interest from teams including the Suns, Nuggets, Celtics, and Wizards. Sources tell Kelly Iko. Now, Jae'Sean Tate, he's a I'm not gonna say undersized, but he's a shorter power forward, plays big, went to Ohio State. He's got that dog in him for sure. Very physical, very versatile. Can put the ball on the floor. He's 27 years old. This is the article that Kelly Iko wrote. So I'm going to quote it here from The Athletic. Forward Jae'Sean Tate is another player on the roster who has drawn interest from teams, including the Suns, Denver Nuggets, Boston Celtics, and Washington Wizards. Team and league sources said the Rockets aren't looking to trade 27-year-old forward who is internally regarded as one of the most important pieces of this youthful roster. But as is the case with any player, if there was a can't turn down type of offer, it would be considered, those sources said. Tate is highly valued within the organization because of his attention to detail, playmaking ability, unselfish play style, and most importantly, his defensive intensity and versatility. So yeah, he is kind of a bulldog. He's a bulldog kind of player. Looking at his contract, I had his contract pulled up here too. 27 years old with Ohio State. He's on a 3-year, $20 million deal. His contract expires in 2024, 2025. He has a club option of $7 million, so the Wizards could opt out of the contract in 2024. If they do trade for him, I don't think you really have to give up much. You kind of look at the deal that we got for Rui, 3 second-round picks. I think it would be something like that. You give 2 seconds or 1 second in a player for Jae'Sean Tate, in my opinion. I think he's a good player, but he's not a needle mover. I think he's a guy that would come off the bench for the Wizards and provide a punch and some points, because we do need some more bench scoring, as you guys could see against the Brooklyn Nets. I thought they hurt us in the Cavaliers game. I thought they hurt us, and I thought the loss against the Blazers, we definitely could have used some bench scoring as well. You look at his 2022-23 stats: 7 points, 4 boards a game, and 3 assists. So he is a jack of all trades, Swiss Army knife kind of guy. And I think he's a solid player. Once again, not a needle mover, but I think he could come in and contribute. Average 11 points in 2022, 11 points again in 2021, 5 boards per game each season, 31% from the 3, 30% from the 3-point line his rookie year, 28% from the 3 this year. He did get suspended a game this year. I can't remember why he got suspended, but he did get suspended a game this year, if I'm not mistaken. Solid player, but he's only played 16 games this year, so he's been in and out of the lineup. He's had some injuries, but he's been pretty durable throughout his career. Played 70 games his rookie year, 78 games in his sophomore season. So I'm not really banging on the table to trade for Jae'Sean Tate, but he's a darn good player. He's a darn good player for sure. All right, next guy is Jakob Poetl. This one was a head scratcher to me, in my opinion. I don't know why the Wizards would try to trade for a big. And Jakob Poetl, who's a legitimate starter. Like, you're not trading for Jakob Poetl for him to come off the bench. Like, that doesn't make sense. And Jakob Poetl, he's 27 years old as well. He was the 9th pick in the draft. He went to Utah. He played with DeLon Wright. He was teammates with DeLon Wright. So, I mean, there's a connection there. I could see. I don't really see this happening, and I'm gonna pull up the tweet and see who reported the Jakob Poetl one as well. I want to say that was Mark Stein. Mark Stein reported that the Wizards do have interest in Jakob Poetl, the center for the San Antonio Spurs. San Antonio Spurs are reportedly looking for 2 first-round picks for Jakob Poetl. I thought that was a very high asking price for Jakob Poetl. Jakob Poetl is a unrestricted free agent upcoming this year. So, if you trade for him, of course you got to pay him, and it's like, okay, you're trading for a big. Who are you giving to the Spurs for Jakob Poetl? You're going to give up Gafford, Will Barton, Monte Moore. Like, who are you giving up to get Jakob Poeltl? The needs that they really need is a point guard or somebody that can create off the dribble, because the Wizards, they definitely could use some more guys creating off the dribble. I thought guys did a great job doing it. Of course, Bradley Beal is a guy who can do that, but they need guys off the bench who can do that more consistently, create off the dribble, and can create for others. So Jakob Poeltl, big man is not a need in my opinion. Backup big is a need. I would say that. But if you're trading for Jakob Poeltl, you're trading for him to start. I think he's a starter in this league for sure. I want to put up his numbers too. He's had a good amount of double doubles in his career, and he's a guy that's really improved each season as well. Jakob Poeltl, he's no slouch. He's a good player, but it just doesn't really fit with the Wizards or what they really need. They don't need another big. You already got Porzingis. You already got Gaff. You don't need a guy who doesn't space the floor, a big man who doesn't space the floor to come in and kind of clog up the paint for Jakob Poeltl, in my opinion. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense. This year, Jakob Poeltl's averaging 12 points and 9 boards. He's almost averaging a double-double. So, like I said, Jakob Poeltl's no slouch. He's a good player. 13 points the year before, 9 boards, and 3 assists. He's a good player in 2 blocks. 2 blocks last year, and he's averaging 1.2 blocks this year. So it's not a matter is the guy a good player, but is it really a position of need, and is that really going to move the needle and help the Wizards out? I just don't see it. I really don't. I don't see it. So I'm gonna get to comments and see what you guys think about those guys and what you guys thought about the game. They're gonna wrap it up tonight. We are going live. Me and Brandon. Brandon will be back tomorrow night. We're gonna have Troy Halliburton come on as a guest tomorrow night. We're gonna answer you guys' questions live at 9:00 p.m. Eastern time. Just recapping the trade deadline and getting you guys reaction. Of course, we're gonna say our reactions to the trades and get you guys reactions on the trades as well. First comment of the night is Zitman Frizz. He says, KP, the unicorn, fire emoji. Yeah, he was on fire tonight, man. He was dominating. He was playing like an all-star tonight. He really was. In the post, scoring 8 threes tonight. Every time he plays Charlotte, he has a really good game. I just didn't see, Plumlee and Mark Williams. I just don't see guys that can really check Porzingis on the other side of the floor. So I thought this was a game where he definitely should have came out and dominated, and he did that. So I was happy with his performance tonight. Gilad Zelzer says KP and Denny were rocking. Denny was aggressive just from the jump of the game, like the give and go that he had. I love that. He was getting downhill, getting to the basket. I love that from Denny. Played with confidence tonight. Had an and-1, got to the free throw line, rebounding. I've just been really impressed with his rebounding. He's been an awesome rebounder. 13 boards, double-double. He had a double-double like early in the third quarter. Early in the third quarter, he had a double-double. So Denny out of the Turbo had a great game. He had a great game tonight. Eden Rose, he says Turbo, lightning emojis. Matan Golan says Turbo and KP, a European power couple. Good to see Bill back on the court and meaning business. Yeah, Bradley Bill, man, he was aggressive tonight as well. He picked his spots, and he was really being a facilitator tonight as well. He wasn't forcing the action. And he's a guy that can really create, man. He can really create for others and get open shots for guys, and he certainly did that tonight. He was definitely orchestrating the offense at times tonight for sure. So I was impressed with Bradley Bill tonight, too, with another double-double for Bradley Bill tonight. Dean Pomeroy, yes, of course. We did see the Russell Westbrook trade. I do believe that Russell Westbrook will be bought out by the Utah Jazz. I don't see him playing for the Jazz at all. So we'll see. I know some Wizards fans have been talking about a Russell Westbrook reunion. So we'll see if that happens. I doubt it happens, but you never know. The Marcy says KP and Turbo equals romance win. Yes, I did see the picture on Instagram with him, KP and Danny, aka Turbo, and Kyle Kuzma. They were enjoying themselves together. Yan Evil 28 says Gaff shot. Well, yes, Gaff was aggressive tonight. He played physical, got hurt, bounced back, came in the game, and dominated. That's what we need from Gaff and KP. So, and that's a big reason why I wouldn't trade for Jakob Poetl either. I just wouldn't really mess with the chemistry with that Gaff and KP have going. I think they have a good chemistry going. There have been some games where they've given up big numbers to other opposing bigs, but when they get going like this, they're a good duo. They're a good duo in the paint for sure. Perfect Finance says defensive belt goes to Gaff. Thank God no games left to showcase Barton. Yeah, in the next 24 hours, we're going to see what happens with Barton today. I thought he played well in the limited minutes that he had. There were some turnovers that I didn't like, but I thought he contributed tonight. I thought he showcased pretty well tonight. Hit 2 threes. I'm going to look up and see how many turnovers he had tonight. Just to I don't want to put out any false information, but I could have sworn I saw him have a turnover tonight. He had 2 turnovers tonight. Kendrick Nunn had 3 turnovers. Yeah, there was a stretch where they were both in the game, and they had a couple bad turnovers. When the Hornets were when the Hornets had the lead for a little bit against the Wizards in the first half. Denny Avdija was a +6. Porzingis was a +12. Brad was a +12. DeLon Wright was a +11. Anthony Gill was a +8. Corey Kispert was a +11. Jordan Goodwin was a +10 as well. Johnny Davis did not get any minutes tonight. He was the only person that collected a DNP tonight. So I really wanted to see him. I can't remember whether he was in street clothes or not, or whether he suited up. I can't remember. I did see him on the sideline before the game, though. The March C says, honestly, fully in first half under impression. KP will have a bad game, and we will lose. March Review said, got the dub. Red Wings 01 said, now let's go get a real point guard. I don't see them acquiring a big-name point guard or really upgrading the point guard position at the trade deadline. I think it's something that they're going to have to do in the offseason. I think that's something they're going to have to do in the offseason. So we'll see tomorrow night. Divinimous Media says, we have ball handling small forwards. Why not revisit Point Bill? The only downside with Point Bill is the turnovers. I want to look at how many turnovers he had tonight, too. He had 3 turnovers, which is not bad at all. That's the only thing with Point Bill. And then you kind of take him away from what he's really good at, which is scoring. I did like Point Bill last year, where he had a really good game against the Bulls. He had like 13 assists or something like that. But he's a guy that he certainly can create for others. But I think Brad is at his best when he's a off-ball guy. He's running off screens. kind of like, when we had John Wall running off screens, knocking down threes, knocking down easy shots. I think that's when he's at his best. But Brad can definitely handle the ball. He does a good job of that. He did a good job being point builder tonight. Chimp says playing against teams looking for the lottery are games we're supposed to win. We need to play and beat the top teams. Then he plays against the bottom teams. He's got to bring it to the top teams. That is a observation that does have some validity to it. When we were on a winning streak, we did beat the Rockets. We beat the Magic, who are a lottery team. I'm gonna look at the streak actually, because I was thinking about this to myself too. Now, when we are on a win, it's a 6-game winning streak. We did beat a couple of good teams. We beat the Pelicans, who were on a 6-game losing streak at the time. We beat the Bulls, who were that's not the 6-game winning streak. We beat the Knicks. We beat the Knicks, who are a legitimate playoff team. We beat the Magic, who are a lottery team. But the next night, the Magic beat the Sixers. So it's any given night. So I don't want to take away from the 6-game winning streak at all. They beat the Mavericks, who are our playoff team, and during the 6-game winning streak. And Denny had a good game. Then he had a solid game against the Magic. He had a really good game against the Knicks too in New York, where we beat the Knicks, who are a playoff team. We beat the Rockets. Denny had a good game. That's a lottery team. We beat the Pelicans. I thought Denny had a good game that game as well. They're fighting for the playoffs. No Zion, no Brandon Ingram. So it was a couple of games where there were lottery teams. There was probably 2 games where it was legitimate playoff teams, the Knicks and the Mavericks. And I thought Denny contributed well to those games. So I do want to see more consistency from Denny. Denny had an underwhelming game against the Cavs, and then the Blazers game, he had a pretty darn bad game from the field. He did. He had a bad game. He had 2 points, was 0 for 7 from the field. But the thing is, he was able to bounce back. He didn't put his head down where we saw last year, where he would go into some slumps and put his head down, and he would have a stretch of rough shooting games. This year, he's played with more confidence, and I think he's getting in his stride. He's getting in his stride, and he's playing really good basketball right now. Chimp said Russ probably in a buyout. Yes, I said that earlier. I think so as well. Oh, Republican Canada. Yes. Didn't want to forget that. The Daniel Gafford block on LaMelo Ball. Hand orange covering eyes. Yeah, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. The landlord. So that was awesome from Gafford when he blocked LaMelo Ball. I love that tonight too. I am almighty God. Charlotte's tanking hard. They pulled off the worst record in the NBA. It would be bad if they don't get the first, or at least the second pick of the draft, at least the top 3 pick for sure. All right, I'm gonna read 1 or 2 more comments, and we're gonna wrap it up tonight. So, I mean, we've seen the Wizards lose to bad teams before too. So I'll take the dub. I'll take the dub because we've seen them lose to teams they were supposed to beat before. We've seen that happen. We saw that happen against the Nets, where no Kyrie, no KD, no Ben Simmons, and they managed to lose that game somehow. So I'll take the dub any way I can get it. So I'll give him credit for that. All right. Somebody said, Nayer said they're gonna sign Westbrook again on a minimum deal. We'll see. I highly doubt that happens. We'll see. I'm excited for the trade. I'm excited for 3 p.m. tomorrow. Another trade actually just came in. I'm getting a notification on my phone. The Knicks just traded Cam Reddish to the Blazers for they traded Cam Reddish and a protected future first for Josh Hart. So that's another trade that just came in. If you guys didn't hear about that was just announced. So Cam Reddish has been traded from the Knicks. It doesn't really affect the Wizards much, but Cam Reddish was just traded to the Blazers for Josh Hart and a protected future first. So that's a trade right there. But I'm excited for 2 p.m. tomorrow. I just want to thank you guys for listening and making Locked On Wizards. Izzy Polycarp, shout out to him. He says, "Hey Eddie, I love the 36 points from KP and Daniel Gafford. Defense was really good." Yes, I 110% agree with you. Very well said. Very well said. All right, guys. I just want to thank you guys for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. Now make your second listen game to game. Every moment, every top performance, every result, Locked On Game to Game covers every game from across the NBA with local analysis that only Locked On can deliver. Follow Game to Game on Locked On NBA, available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcasts. Wizards get the dub. Hail to the Wizards. See you guys tomorrow night at 9. Let's see what happens. Let's see what Tommy Shepard can do. You know, the narrative is that he doesn't get fleeced in trades. So can Tommy keep it up? You know, he struggles in drafting or is iffy in drafting. But can Tommy find a good deal tomorrow? We'll see. All right, you guys. Hail to the Wizards. Peace.